Welcome to Backgammon Sage Pro. In this video, I'll walk you through the different parts of the app in a bit of detail. Sage Pro is made up of different sections, which you can access through the menu at the top left of the window. Let's start with Analyze Position. This is where you can set up a specific position and analyze it at different evaluation levels, see AI analysis of the decision, and dig into more detail.
Each section in Sage Pro has an Ask Sage AI help button in the top right. Click that to get help. It shows your recent chat history so you can get back into a conversation from earlier. You can click on any of the Ask bubbles on the screen to get help on that piece. Or hit Type a question to directly chat with the AI help bot. First, let's decide what kind of game we're playing. In the top right, unlimited games, also called money games, or a match. In an unlimited game, you can choose to use the Jacoby rule, where you cannot win a gammon unless the cube is turned. And you can choose whether to include beavers, where if you're doubled, you can choose to immediately redouble and keep the cube. If you're looking at a match position, you need to set the match length and the score of each player. If either player has a score 1 below the match length, the Crawford box is enabled. Check it to indicate that this is a position from the Crawford game, where the cube cannot be turned.
Next, decide whether you are analyzing a checker play position, where the dice are visible, or a cube action position.
Now we can place the checkers on the board in the position we want to investigate. Below the board are some buttons that help with this. The Swap Board button flips the checkers top to bottom. The Player on Turn toggles which player is on turn. The Opening Position button places the checkers in the opening position of a regular backgammon game. And the Clear Board button removes all the checkers from the board.
You can place the player's checkers on the board by left-clicking the mouse on a point. If there are enough checkers remaining, it places checkers up to the point you clicked on. If you click on the bottom of the point, it places 1 checker. On the 3rd spot, it places 3 checkers. If you click on the 5th spot, it places 5 checkers. To place more than 5 checkers on a point, first place 5 checkers, then continue to click on the 5th spot to add new checkers. The count is shown in the body of the 5th checker. Click at the foot of a point to clear all checkers from that point. To add player checkers to the bar, left-click on the top half of the bar. Adding checkers here is similar to adding them on a point. You can add opponent checkers just like adding player checkers, but with right clicks of the mouse rather than left. You can add a whole row of checkers by clicking and dragging across points. The doubling cube is on the side of the board. Left-clicking the cube, or either of the empty 2 spaces for the cube, increases it for the player or decreases it for the opponent. Right-clicking increases it for the opponent or decreases it for the player. The pip count is the sum of the distances each checker has to get off the board. So is a measure of the race. The player with the lower pip count is closer to the end of the race. The pip count is displayed above and below the board. In a match, it also shows the score and match length for each player.
If both players have all their checkers in their own home boards, it also shows the EPC, the effective pip count, which is an adjusted pip count that takes structure into account. You can manage a set of related positions in Analyze Position using tabs. Click the plus icon in the top right to open a new position tab, which sets up a copy of the position you started with. You can close a tab when it's selected by clicking the X next to the tab number. All tabs are saved and loaded together. Once you have the position set up, it's time to analyze it. The analysis settings are on the right. The row of buttons gives the evaluation level, which determines how deep an analysis the bot will do. 2P is a 2-ply calculation, which means that the bot looks at all 21 possible next rolls, checks the best move for each of those, and then averages across those 21 results. 3P and 4P are 3 and 4-ply, which look forward through more turns. 1T is a truncated rollout. It runs a simulation of 72 games 5 turns into the future, using 1-ply analysis for each decision. 2T is stronger. 360 paths, looking ahead 7 moves and 2-ply decisions. 3T is strongest. 360 paths, 7 decision look ahead, and 3-ply decisions. R is a full rollout, where it simulates a large number of games all the way to the end of each game and averages the results. You can choose your rollout parameters in the Settings dialog, Analytics section, under Rollout Presets. Checker decisions and cube decisions control the checker play and cube action evaluation level of decisions at each point in the rollout. Each increase in evaluation level makes the rollout about 20 times slower. Games controls the number of simulated games in the rollout. The rollout time goes up with the number of games, but also gets more accurate. Search interval is used by the rollout to filter the number of decisions that get accurate evaluations. A wider interval ensures that good moves aren't filtered out by the coarser initial evaluation, but slows down the calculation. In general, for the evaluation levels, evaluation strength and calculation time both increase from left to right. 3P is a strong bot that is fast and good enough for many purposes.
Hit the Analyze button to see the results of the bot analysis of the position. Let's first look at a checker play position. The first result of the analysis shows the game plan of the player and of the opponent. Sage Pro uses 4 broad game plans: racing, attacking, priming, and anchoring. Backgammon strategy is different in different game plans, so this gives you a hint on how to think about the position. It also shows the analytics for each move, with the best move at the top. Clicking on a move will display it on the board. There are 3 ways to display the move, governed by the toggle below the move list. Initial shows the position before the move happens. Arrows places arrows on the board showing which checkers are moving where. Final shows the position after the move and grays out the dice. Each row in the move table shows information about a specific move. The move description is standard backgammon terminology describing which points checkers move from and to. In the top right is the equity of the move. Equity is how much the game is worth to you after the move is done, assuming you're playing for $1 a point. If your equity is positive, it's the amount your opponent would need to pay you to stop the game and walk away. If it's negative, it's how much you would need to pay your opponent. Equity is at the heart of all backgammon decisions. In any decision, you should make the decision that gives you the most positive equity. So the best move here is the one with the highest equity. The other moves also show the equity error. How big an error it would be to make that move instead of the best move.
The 6 numbers are cubeless probabilities, the odds of different game outcomes if you were not playing with the doubling cube. Next to the P are the player's numbers. First, the chance of any win, single, gammon, or backgammon. Then the odds of any gammon, then the odds of a backgammon. Next to the O are the odds of the opponent's win, gammons, and backgammon.
In the bottom right is a label that shows what evaluation level was used to evaluate this move. If you evaluate a checker play position at a high evaluation level, it does a first pass at a lower level to filter out the obviously bad moves, then applies the higher level on just the top candidates. So even if you analyze a position at 3T, some of the moves further down the list might show a lower evaluation level.
Hitting the info icon opens a dialog that shows this same information in larger font and shows other details like the cubeless equity and rollout parameters, as well as standard errors on the values that come from rollouts and truncated rollouts. Hit the Compare Scores button here to show the best moves in an unlimited game, and also a set of reference match scores, which often highlights interesting features of the position. Clicking the Ask Sage AI button generates an AI analysis of the position, explaining the best move through intermediate-level backgammon strategy and tactics rather than equities and probabilities. It can take a few seconds for this to generate, and remember that it's AI, so it's not always correct. Click the arrow at the bottom of the dialog to expand it, or click the Listen button to have it speak the results to you.
Hitting Analyze on a cube action position shows you the detailed analysis. Like in checker play, it shows the game plan for each player. It shows the cubeless probabilities of different game outcomes, like with the move analytics. It shows the cubeless equity, which is the equity in a game without the doubling cube. Then, it shows the 3 most important numbers. The equity if the player chooses not to double, the equity if the player doubles and the opponent takes, and the equity if the player doubles and the opponent passes. If the player doubles, the opponent should choose the action that gives the player the lowest equity, so the lower of the double take and double pass equities. The player should double if that equity is higher than the no double equity, otherwise it is better not to double. The best decision has best beside it. The other 2 decisions show the error. Below the equities, it summarizes the best cube action.
In the bottom right, it shows the evaluation level of the analysis, and hitting the info icon pops up a dialog with the analytics in larger type and with a bit more detail, like the standard error on numbers from simulations and rollout details, and lets you compare cube actions across a range of match scores. Clicking Ask Sage AI generates the AI analysis of the cube action position, describing it in terms of strategy and tactics specific to the game plan.
You can save a position by hitting the Save button below the board. Enter a name for the saved position, and you can also give it a tag, a label that you can use to group positions. Clicking the Load button lets you load positions you'd previously saved or ones you generated through a batch rollout. Copy Link lets you share a position with another Sage Pro user, the equivalent of emailing a match file generated by previous desktop applications. Click the button, and a custom link is saved to your clipboard. You can then email or text that to the other user who can click it to see your position. Play from here starts a new game against the bot from the position. The More Analytics button gives you a menu to drill in even deeper. Dice Distribution lets you visualize what happens to the game over the next move or two. What are the best moves for each roll, and how do you perform after each? Choose your evaluation level at the top left. 3P is a 3-ply evaluation, which does 2-ply evaluations for the first turn and 1-ply evaluations for the second turn. 4P does 3-ply for the first turn and 2-ply for the second turn. Next, choose which rolls to analyze. First roll only shows the results across the 21 possible dice rolls of the first roll. Your roll, if this is a cube action position, or your opponent's roll, if this is a checker play position. Second roll only looks at the stats for the second roll, averaged over outcomes in the first roll. Both rolls show the results for the tree of first roll, then second roll. The panel below shows overall statistics for the decision, the average equity across all the next 2 turns, the volatility, which is the standard deviation of the equity move across 2 turns, the fraction of time the opponent doubles and the player should pass, the fraction of jokers, especially lucky rolls, and anti-jokers, especially unlucky rolls, and market losers, the fraction of outcomes which end in a double pass.
The selector below the Stats panel lets you choose which value to display in the tables and charts below. The default is equity, but you can also look at win chances, gammon win chances, gammon loss odds, gammon diff, the difference between gammon win and loss chances, and cube impact, which is the difference between equity and cubeless equity.
Graph shows a bar chart of the different outcomes. If it shows just one roll, the labels on the bottom show the dice roll. Mouse over a bar to see the value. If you're looking at both rolls, we don't show labels on the bottom, but mousing over a bar shows the 2 rolls and the value. Details shows those results in a table. Heat map shows a heat map of those same results. Dice distribution for checker play shows you the results after a specific move, but you can also compare moves with it. Select 2 moves in the move list, right-click, and choose Dice Distribution.
At the top, you can now choose to look at the results for either move separately or to look at the results for the difference between the 2 moves, which often makes clear why one move is better than the other. For move differences, you can look at graphs for each move side by side, or see a single graph showing the differences.
Another entry in More Analytics is race formulas. Pure races have been extensively analyzed by experts who turn their insights into rules to use to make accurate cube action decisions. Sage Pro supports eyesight, pip count, Keith count, trice count, and Thorpe count rules. Scroll down to see the details for each rule. Cube information is another entry in More Analytics that helps you understand the windows for different cube actions. Market window shows estimates for the take point. If the probability of win is below this, the player should drop. It shows the double point. If their win chances are above this and below the too good level, they should double. If the win odds are above the cash level, their opponent should drop. These levels are estimates based on the Janowski live cube model. It also shows the dead cube and live cube levels, which bound where the true level is. The cube life index is a parameter of the Janowski model. Higher means closer to the live cube limit, and lower means closer to the dead cube limit. These market windows change as the gammon odds change. Click the No Gammons button to see what the windows look like in a position like the current one, but with 0 gammon odds. Gammon values shows the gammon and backgammon values for each player, which represent how valuable a gammon win is. In a regular game, a gammon is worth half as much as a win. 1 extra point for a gammon versus a win, compared to a 2-point swing for a win versus a loss. Match Equity Table shows a table of match-winning probabilities starting a game in an ongoing match. For example, if the player is in a match to 7 and is winning 4-2, you look up the player's away score 3, since the player has 4 points in a match to 7, and the opponent's away score 5, since the opponent has 2 points in match to 7. Then, at the start of the next game before the opening roll, the player has a 64.8% chance of winning the match. This assumes both players play perfectly. 1C means 1 point away in the Crawford game, and 1PC means 1 point away in a post-Crawford game.
Background rollout lets you start a long-running rollout calculation in the background as you do other things. It creates a new saved position with the tag batch and starts rolling it out. The load button shows a badge displaying progress. When it finishes, that badge turns green. Load the saved position to see results. When you analyze a checker play position, sometimes you want to change the evaluation level of specific moves. Select the moves you want to reevaluate. Below the table of moves is a Reevaluate button. Click it to reevaluate at the selected level, or choose the level from the drop-down. Click the button, and the evaluation level label will turn to a circle while calculating. When it is complete, it will show the new results. Moves in the move table are sorted first by evaluation level, highest first, then by equity.
The next section we will look at is Play Sage, where you play unlimited games or matches against the Sage Backgammon bot. Note that the Play Sage section also has an Ask Sage AI help icon in the top right that you can click to get detailed help about any section of the screen. If you do not have a live game underway already, you will see an empty board and a set of options on the right side. You can choose which player account this game will be associated with. Choose an existing account or create a new one. Use your player accounts to group similar kinds of games so you can analyze them as a group later. Next is the game mode. This determines how hints and analysis are made available to you during the game. Full means that you can see your PR and pip count during the game, and can ask for hints at any point. Tutor mode gives you full analysis and prompts you if you make a bad decision. Teaching mode gives you full analysis after every decision automatically. Coaching is like tutor mode, but with fewer displayed analytics during a decision. Competition mode is the strictest, where you're not shown PR, pip count, or hints during the game or match, and see your results only at the end.
You can set the strength of your bot opponent by choosing an evaluation level for it to use. Strong, a 3-ply evaluation, is a moderately strong opponent that moves quickly. AI Champion, also called 3T, is a very strong opponent that takes some time to make decisions using a truncated rollout.
Choose whether to play an unlimited game or a match. If you choose an unlimited game, you can choose to include the Jacoby rule or beavers. For a match, choose the match length and whether to use a clock. If you choose to use a clock, you can enter the reserve time, which defaults to 2 minutes per match length, and the delay at the start of a turn before you start eating into your reserve, which defaults to 12 seconds. Hit the play button to start a new game or match. The game starts with the opening roll. If the bot wins the opening roll, it will make its move. Otherwise, it is your turn. At the start of each of your turns, if you have access to the doubling cube, you must choose whether to double your opponent or not double and roll the dice. Hit the roll button to roll the dice. You can move the checkers in several ways. Click on a checker to move it by the leftmost unused die amount. Click the dice to flip their order. You can drag and drop checkers as well. If you pick up a checker by clicking and starting to drag it, you will be shown legal landing spots for it on the board. Drop it on one of those to move the checker. You can also double-click a point to make it if the dice allow it as a legal move. During bear-off, you can also double-click the checker tray to move off 2 checkers if that is a legal move. Click the undo button at any point during a move to step back 1 move. When you are done your move and want to end your turn, hit the done button. That moves to the bot's turn. If you want to double at the start of your turn, hit the double button. The bot will decide whether to take or double. Here I doubled too early, so my PR went up to reflect my error. Click on the PR number for more details. PR stands for performance rating, which equals your average equity error on your decisions, multiplied by 500. A lower number is better. You can see your PR split out into checker plays and cube actions. You can also see your total luck, which is how good your actual rolls were compared to the average across all the rolls you might have made. It also shows you the number of decisions you've had. A checker play counts as a decision if there is more than one legal move, and if there's one legal move that's better than the others. A cube action counts as a decision if it's not a clear no double. When the no double equity is at least zero point 0.2 equity better than the equity if you double. If you get doubled, you will see the cube on your side with the proposed new value, as well as pass and take buttons. In unlimited games, if your settings include it, there is also a beaver button to let you beaver the cube, where you keep the cube but redoubled again in value. If your game mode supports it, you can hit the Analyze button here to see the game plans, look at the cube action analytics, and ask the Sage AI to describe the best decision. If you hit the Pass button, the game is over and you see the score screen. Hitting Take moves the cube to your side, and then the bot makes their checker play move.
You can look back at prior moves by clicking the History button in the top right. This shows a table where each row is a turn. On the left, it shows the cube action, and on the right, the move description. It shows an indicator if you experienced a particularly lucky or unlucky roll, and it shows indicators for when you or the opponent make checker play or cube action errors. Checker play errors show as circles, red for a blunder and orange for smaller errors. The error threshold defaults to 0.02 and blunders to 0.08, but you can change those in your settings. Cube action errors show as squares, orange for errors and red for blunders.
Click on a prior move to see the position as of that move. Click on the checker toggle to see the checker play details, or the cube toggle to see the cube action information. Clicking on a row in the table of moves shows the move on the board, respecting that initial arrow's final setting below the table. As in Analyze position, you can select one or more moves in the table, then right-click to reevaluate them at a different evaluation level. Note that reevaluations may change the PR calculations. Click the Back to Live button, or click on the last row of the history table to return to the current game. If your game mode allows it, you can get a hint on the current decision by hitting the Analyze button. As before, you can select one or more rows in the move table and right-click to reevaluate them at a different evaluation level. You can also hit the Ask Sage AI button to get an AI analysis of the decision. You can end a game early by resigning. Hit the button in the bottom left. You will be charged the maximum possible number of points to resign. If you want the bot to take over your moves for part of the game, toggle the autoplay button next to resign. As long as this is toggled on, the bot will make your decisions for you. Toggle it off to start playing again. No moves made by the bot will be counted as your decisions for PR calculations. If you want to dig into a position more deeply, and your game mode allows it, hit the Analyze Position button at the bottom right. That copies the position into the Analyze Position section and takes you there. You can analyze the position in depth, for example, by digging into the Dice Distribution tool. After you're done examining the position, you can go back to the Play Sage section and resume your game from where you left off. When your unlimited game is over, you will see a score screen that shows the score of the current game, the running score in your series of games, PR information for you and the opponent, and luck information. It also lets you set parameters for the next game to play: unlimited or match, player account, game mode, and game settings. Toggle on Reset Scores if you want the next game to start fresh and end the current series. Hit the Review button to do a quick review of the game. You can hit the Analyze Match button here to view the game in the Analyze Match section, but we'll look at that separately in a moment. In the review dialog, you can see the full history of the game, filter it down to your errors or the opponent's errors, and click on a row to see details of that move. You cannot reevaluate moves in the review screen. Hit the Play Again button to start a new game or match based on the next game settings in the dialog. If you are playing a match and finish a game but not the match, you will see a score screen with the current match score as well as PR information if the game mode supports it. You can toggle the Game Match toggle to show PR for the most recent game or for the whole match so far. When you finish the match, you will see a score screen that shows all the score and PR information and lets you review the match and all its games through the review screen. You can choose which game you're looking at in the drop-down at the top of the history. Now let's dig into how you analyze a game or match that you've already played or imported. Open the main menu and choose Analyze Match to go to that section. Like all the sections, you can access AI help by clicking the Ask Sage AI icon in the top right to get more information on the components of this screen. Analyze Match lets you look at any of the games or matches that you played against the bot and other humans, or ones you've imported into Sage Pro. Click the Load button in the bottom left to choose which match to analyze. You can filter the list by player account, or you can search for a specific entry. When you open a saved game or match, it starts you on the first turn. In the top right, it shows whether it is an unlimited game or a match, and game or match settings. Below that, it shows the history of turns in the game. Each row is one turn, with cube action and checker play information. It shows player and opponent errors as circle icons for checker play errors and squares for cube errors, as well as indicators for lucky or unlucky moves. You can filter the list with the selector at the top. Show all the turns, only ones where you made an error, or only ones where the opponent made an error.
Pressing the down arrow moves you one turn later in the game. The up arrow moves you one turn earlier in the game.
Click on a row to show information for that turn. You can toggle between the checker play and cube action decisions. It shows the game plans for each player at the start of the turn. When looking at checker play, it shows a table of analytics about each move. Moves are sorted first by evaluation level, then by equity, with the best move at the top. The information in each row is like before. The move description, the equity error, the cubeless probabilities, and the evaluation level. You can click on the info icon to pop up a dialog with larger font and more detailed information, such as cubeless equity. You can select one or more moves in the table and right-click to reevaluate them at a different evaluation level. Note that this may change the PR for the game and match if the equity error changes. The reevaluation is saved automatically. Click on the cube toggle to see cube action analysis. You can right-click on the analytics to reevaluate it at a different evaluation level. This also may change PR and is automatically saved. You can click the Ask Sage AI button to get an AI analysis of the position. It usually takes a few seconds to calculate. Click the Listen button to have it speak the analysis. If you're analyzing a match, the history table has a drop-down that lets you choose the game. Also, the PR panel below the board has a toggle that lets you see the PR for the selected game, or the whole match. Clicking on a PR number shows a screen with a breakdown of PR and error information. You can also toggle between game and match PR here. If you want to dig into a given position, click the Analyze Position button at the bottom right. This opens the position in the Analyze Position section. When you are done with that position, switch back to the Analyze Match section to get back to the game or match you were looking at.
The Reanalyze button lets you reanalyze the entire match at a different evaluation level. For example, if you want to analyze it at a higher level. Choose the base evaluation level, which is used in a first pass for every decision, and the expert evaluation level, which is used in a second pass only for positions where the decision differs from the base evaluation. This creates a new saved match, which you can name. If you select Yes for Update PR Statistics, it will use the newly evaluated match to calculate your overall player PR statistics, rather than the original.
Hitting the Export to File button writes out a file on your local computer that is a transcript of the turns in the game or match. You can import that into other analysis programs such as Extreme Gammon. The Copy Link button puts a link on your clipboard that you can paste into an email or message and send to another Sage Pro player. That person can click the link and open the match on their end. This is Sage Pro's equivalent of attaching a match file to an email for older desktop programs. Next, let's look at how you can evaluate your own performance and discover where your game is strong and where it needs work. This is the Player Analysis section. Like the other sections, you can hit the Ask Sage AI icon in the top right for information on the different components of this section, or ask the help bot any questions about any part of it. It shows your recent performance in terms of PR, performance rating, statistics. You can choose to include all of your play or filter it to a specific player account. You can also choose the rolling window. This window determines how many games back it looks to generate the current PR numbers. A window of 10 means it looks back at your 10 most recent games, including unlimited games and games that are part of matches. A window of 50 means that it looks at the 50 most recent games. A shorter window gives you a more recent view of your performance, but a longer window averages over many different game phases and tends to give a more accurate estimate. The PR Stats tab shows a summary of your current PR, both your total PR as well as PRs separately for checker play and cube action decisions. It also buckets your decisions into your game plan at the time of the decision and shows you PRs for the different game segments. This categorization lets you identify where your game needs work. This player's cube decisions are much weaker than their checker play, and they are weakest in priming positions. It shows you the average number of checker play and cube action blunders you make per game. A blunder is an equity error greater than 0.08. It also shows you your total luck, as well as your average luck per roll. All these PR numbers correspond to the most recent performance over the most recent games in the rolling window. You can see how your performance has changed over time in the PR Chart tab. This shows what your PR was at different times in the past, at each point looking back the rolling window. You can choose which lines to show on the chart for the different PR categories. Tap the label to toggle on or off a series. The Outcomes tab shows your results for unlimited games and for matches. It shows the total number of matches in your history and your performance on them, the total number of unlimited games you've played, and your average score, your win-loss rate for games, and statistics on the different game outcomes. Note that these numbers are calculated across all your saved games, not just over the selected rolling window. Cube Bias shows how you perform in different cube action situations. It shows your average error over cube decisions at the top. Then it shows 4 different scenarios. Missed doubles, when you should have doubled but did not. Wrong doubles, when you shouldn't have doubled but did. Wrong takes, where you should have passed but instead took. And wrong passes, where you should have taken but instead passed. It also shows you a summary of your tendency as a doubler and as a responder. Once you understand where your game needs work, switch over to the quiz section to get quizzed on decisions that you got wrong in your own play. You can choose to filter down to positions for a specific player account or get them all. You can limit it to checker play or cube action positions, or get both. You can filter on the game plan of the player and/or the opponent, and filter it to just unlimited games or matches, or get them all.
The threshold is the threshold on the size of the equity error to be included in the quiz. It defaults to a blunder, usually 0.08, but you can define that in your settings.
Hit the Quiz Me button to start. This takes you to the first randomly selected quiz problem. Sage randomly shuffles your errors and shows them to you one by one. Following modern learning theory, if you get a problem wrong, it will remember and occasionally slot it back into the list of questions until you get it correct 3 times in a row. For a checker play problem, you can mouse over the different options to see arrows highlighting the move. Once you have taken your time to decide your answer, click the appropriate option in the buttons on the right. It will show you the correct answer and your answer if you chose incorrectly. Your answer is highlighted in red if your error was a blunder, yellow if it was an error. It also shows the analytics for your decision, either checker play or cube action, along with the game plans for each player. You can click the Analyze Position button to show the position in the Analyze Position section and dig deeper into the analysis. Or you can hit the Next button to move to the next problem. Hit the Exit button to leave the quiz and go back to the main quiz lobby. Your running score is shown in the top right. Next, let's look at ways to bring in games and matches that you have played in other platforms, so you can build a complete database of your play. Click the top left menu to see the sections and select Import. You can import a game or match from the desktop application Extreme Gammon by hitting the Import from XG button. This opens a file chooser where you can select the XG file on your computer, a file ending in .xg. These are created in the XG app by saving a game or match you are editing. Choose your file, then set up the import. Choose a match name, which will show up in your saved matches in Analyze Match. Swap the position of the players if you like and edit their names. Next, choose the evaluation strength. Sage Pro does 2 passes when importing a match. A first one at a base evaluation level, then a second that applies a higher expert evaluation level to just the decisions where the player and the base evaluation differ. Check Include in PR Statistics if you want this match to be included in your overall PR statistics, the ones that show up in the Player Analysis section. They will be evaluated assuming that you are the player in the match. Also choose the player account to associate this match with if you are including it in your PR statistics. The player account is not relevant if you are not including it in PR. Hit the Analyze button to start the 2-pass analysis, once at the base evaluation level, then at the expert level for disputed decisions. You will be taken back to the import lobby and will see a new row in the table of imported games. It will show progress bars for the base and expert evaluation passes while the import is ongoing. When it is complete, it shows an Analyze button. Hit that to bring up the imported match in the Analyze Match section. You can also import files exported from online backgammon playing platforms such as Backgammon Galaxy and Backgammon Studio Heroes. Click the Import from Galaxy Heroes button to select the file, which should end in .txt. Choose your import settings, then hit the Analyze button to kick off the import. When the import finishes, hit the Analyze button in that row to view the match in the Analyze Match section. You can search and filter the imported games by typing in the search box at the top of the table of imported games. You can also transcribe a game by entering in the dice, cube actions, and moves by hand. Hit the transcribe button to enter data about the transcription. Its name, which is how it will show up in your saved matches, whether it is a single unlimited game or a match. The game or match settings. The player names. Then, data about when and where the game happened. Click Include in PR Statistics and choose the associated player account if you would like this incorporated into your performance statistics from the perspective of the player in the transcribed match. Hit the transcribe button to start transcribing. This tool is designed to be used in real time, watching a live game and keeping up with play. When you start, you must enter the starting role by typing the appropriate numbers on your keyboard using the 1 through 6 keys. The first number you enter is the opponent's die, the second is the player's die. After entering the dice, it automatically calculates the checker play analytics, showing them on the right. Now you can start moving checkers. Checker movement follows the same rules as in the Play Sage section. When you are done transcribing the move, click the Done button to register the end of the checker play move. Before typing the dice, you can see the automatically generated cube action analytics for the next player. If that player does not double, type their 2 dice numbers to set up their checker play move. If the player does double, it validates that you want to enter a double and then presents the options for the player being doubled. As the game progresses, you can see the turn history in the top right with the usual icons for lucky and unlucky rolls and for checker play and cube errors. It also shows a PR summary for the game so far. Below the bot analytics, it shows the player and opponent game plans and has an Ask Sage AI button to ask for AI analysis. You can click on a past turn in the history to view that turn, either the checker play or the cube action analysis. When you are done, hit the Back to Live button to return to the current turn. If you commit a turn incorrectly, for example by forgetting to double or entering in an incorrect checker move, you can take back the last decision by hitting the T key on your keyboard, or by clicking the Take Back Last Move button below the board. If an illegal move is made and kept in the game, you may need to manually edit the position to reflect the new position. Click the Edit Position button below the board to do this. Checker play and cube action analysis is automatically displayed at the start of each turn, as long as the Auto Analyze button below the board is toggled on. Toggle it off and analysis will be hidden, though you can still explicitly hit the Analyze button to calculate analytics when you want it. Hints on how to maneuver through the transcribe workflow are shown above the board. If you want to hide those hints, toggle off the Show Hints button below the board. If a player on turn resigns, click the Resign button below the board to record the resignation.
You can start broadcasting the live transcription if you want to incorporate the results into a live stream. Click the Broadcast button below the board. The dialog lets you choose what exactly you will be streaming. It is not just a screen grab of the transcription screen, but instead is a custom view for streaming. Click the On Air toggle to start streaming. The web address at the bottom is the address of the stream. Plug that into a live stream system like OBS. You can exit the transcription at any time by hitting the Exit Transcription button in the bottom left. That takes you back to the import lobby. If you were broadcasting, exiting ends the broadcast. Your current transcription is in the table of imported games, with a Resume button to pick up where you left off. You can also hit the Trash Can button to delete the current transcription.
When the game or match finishes, it shows a screen with the score, PR, and luck information. You can hit the Analyze button to open your transcribed match in the Analyze Match section, or the Exit button and go back to the import lobby where you can see the transcribed match as the most recent entry in the table of imports. Hit the Analyze button next to the transcribed match to view it in the Analyze Match section. Finally, let's look at the application settings. From the section menu in the top left, choose Settings to bring up the settings screen.
There are 6 parts to settings: user information, display settings, sound options, analytics settings, subscription management, and information about the app. In the user section, you can set the name that shows up when you play.
Hit the Manage Player Accounts button to see your current player accounts. Here you can add new accounts by hitting the New Account button, or delete existing player accounts. If you delete an existing account, you can transfer the saved games associated with that account to a different account. Hitting the Delete Account button immediately and permanently deletes all your user data and cancels your subscription. This includes deleting any saved games, matches, positions, and performance data. The display section controls how the app looks. The appearance setting controls whether the app uses light mode or dark mode. It defaults to dark mode. You can also set it to match your operating system setting. The theme controls which board, checkers, and doubling cube are used. Click on the different themes to try them out.
Swap player checkers determines whether the player side checkers are the default ones for the theme or whether the checker color should be flipped with the opponent.
Board direction controls the orientation of the board, whether the player bears off to the lower left or the lower right. The match score display controls how scores are displayed above and below the board during matches. Score shows just the score and the match length. Away shows just the points away for each player. Both shows the score and the away score.
Error threshold controls the size of an equity error to be counted as an error, for the purpose of displaying error markers in move histories. Blunder threshold sets the size of a blunder. The sound settings lets you control whether to use sound effects for checker moves and dice rolls.
The analytics settings control evaluation levels and parameters.
The default bot level is the default strength of the bot in Play Sage. Higher levels mean stronger bots, but slower evaluations in play.
The base PR analysis level is the base level used to evaluate decisions when playing games either against the bot or other people, and also when importing games and matches. Expert PR analysis level is used for a second pass evaluation. Any decisions that disagree with the base evaluation are re-evaluated using the expert level.
Rollout preset determines the defaults for rollout calculations. Checker decisions and cube decisions control the checker play and cube action evaluation level of decisions at each point in the rollout. Each increase in evaluation level makes the rollout about 20 times slower. Games controls the number of simulated games in the rollout. The rollout time goes up with the number of paths, but also gets more accurate. Search interval is used by the rollout to filter the number of decisions that get accurate evaluations. A wider interval ensures that good moves aren't filtered out by the coarser initial evaluation, but slows down the calculation.
That brings us to the end of the training video. Enjoy the app. Explore its functionality and learn how it works using the integrated help and AI help bot. Good rolling.